Scenario planning processes enables firm to predict, munition and adapt to the ever-changing environment. Additionally, it helps leaders, executives and decision-makers envision and develop strategies for multiple possible futures. Thanks to this, it enables company to become resilient and agile. Under the scenario planning processes, there are central role of strategic planning, corporate and division strategic planning, defining the corporate mission.
Hello Ilaxers, welcome back. It might hold some truth that if you fail to plan, you should plan to fail. But in this ever-changing world, sometimes the best laid plans are not the best to follow.
Successful marketing thus requires companies to have capabilities such as understanding customer value, creating customer value, delivering customer value, capturing customer value and sustaining customer value.
It's a very interesting world that we're in right now, and a good time frame where we are able to kind of witness some of the major moves that corporations are doing, like old school corporation and brands that are doing. And just take McDonald's as an example. You know, they're used to being known as that fast food chain that is cheap and that's not healthy. And to be able to see throughout the recent years how they're morphing into McCafe, to changing their whole image to be much more modern and much more healthier and fine dining experience. It's very interesting and it's very cool to be able to witness that such a big brand that is so well established still be able to be so nimble and innovative with their experience, just to stay relevant. I think like we're able to see this being as a really relevant theme to very successful brands. So for example, Louis Vuitton, right? They're known for this old school premium brand, and which attracts more of the older generation. But now they're actually doing a collaboration with Supreme, a streetwear brand. So in that way, for them, they're actually able to stay relevant to the younger demographic as well. So while still being able to hold true to their own brand, right? And this is something that we can really learn from these big brands, and is very interesting and inspiring as well, because we understand and are able to witness how even big corporation brands that are huge and very difficult to make changes, they are still making changes all the time, just so then that they can stay relevant, just so then that they can have that good customer experience and interact with customers nowadays, right? People nowadays, they want convenience, they want efficiency, they want instant gratification, which is the reason why McDonald's, they have their own self-serving kiosks. They want people to be able to like order right away. They have apps that people can order from their phone and go in to pick up. Starbucks does an amazing job with this as well, staying relevant, all about the customer experience. That's what branding is all about. So something for us smaller brands that we can learn from is to see how even these big brands are focusing on this. For us smaller brands, we need to focus on that customer experience and to continue to develop and to continue to pivot and stay relevant in today's market.
McKinsey identified 3 main challenges as reflected by differences in opinion between chief executive officers and their most senior marketing executives or chief marketing officers. Link spending priorities to profit potential, for example, as measured by size and anticipated growth rate of current customers, not historical performances. Focus spending on brand drivers, features and benefits truly important to customers, not antis, features and benefits that a brand needs to stay in the game, and deepen insights on how customers get product information and make buying decisions. McKinsey also identifies 3 characteristics that help to position marketers as business development leaders. Combine multiple perspectives, for example, using attitudinal and lead profiles as well as behavior-based segments to identify market opportunities or sweet spots, and focus idea generation through a combination of marketing insight and business analysis, but identify profitable unmet needs before they brainstorm creative solutions. Finally, McKinsey offers 2 recommendations to overcome CEOs' concerns about the role and performance of marketing. Marketers must test and develop programs more quickly as they enhance planning processes and research approaches, and marketers must more effectively evaluate the performance and profit impact of investments in the expanding marketing arena.
The Coffee Collective does brisk business in the heart of this college town. But the shop's success can't be measured in just dollars and cents. The 4 Ps, product, price, place, and promotion, are important functions of any business, but they are just one part of a company's marketing plan, not the only part. The 4 Ps represent the implementation phase, but you can't offer a quality product at a fair market price in the right place without first going through the necessary steps of planning. Martha had always dreamed of opening up an independent coffee house, but she knew there was a lot of competition. She used a SWOT analysis to assess her own internal business plan and the external environment. The big corporate franchise, $5, churns out cup after cup of consistent coffee, but doesn't offer much to locals beyond a place to sit and some Wi-Fi. And the local convenience store on the opposite corner has no amenities at all. Martha saw an opportunity. She dreamed of offering an alternative spot where college students could study, socialize, and buy a quality cup of coffee made with fair trade beans from local artisanal roasters, services she knew would appeal to the neighborhood demographic. Sure, she'd probably have to charge a little more, but she could offer a community environment that her competition can't match. With the planning phase complete, Martha is able to put her customized brew of the 4 Ps into action. By targeting the right market segment and positioning the Coffee Collective as the place for students to come, connect, and drink coffee, of course. When Martha evaluates her marketing efforts, the 3rd phase of the marketing plan, she can trace back the Coffee Collective's success to her unique brand of products and services and strong customer relationships that result in repeat business and loyal customers. After all, you don't become successful by selling just one cup of coffee, but by having a marketing plan that helps you resell that coffee experience over and over again.
Before we go into this video, it's important for you to know exactly what strategic planning is. Strategic planning is an organizational management activity that is used to set priorities, focus energy and resources, strengthen operations, ensure that employees and other stakeholders are working towards common goals, establish agreement around intended outcomes and results, and assess and adjust the organization's direction in response to a changing environment. It provides guidance and inspiration for the focus over the next 5, 10, or whatever number of years, and gives the team an understanding of their work's connection to the overall dream.
Strategic planning is a process to create a multi-year strategy. Every business and industry does it differently, so there is no wrong way to create a strategic plan, except perhaps not to do one. The classical view of strategic planning is to align the company's resources so that every action or decision taken every day moves the company closer to the company's vision. In this course, you will look at common practices that businesses use to develop their strategic plans. To assist you in understanding the application of these practices, you will examine a scenario of a fictional auto company, Rayo Motors. Rayo Motors is a leading manufacturer of gasoline-powered automobiles. In recent years, the sales pattern of Rayo Motors has changed. Customers now seek vehicles that require less fuel due to high prices and environmental degeneration. Rayo Motors has lost 10% of its market share to competitors that offer newer hybrid automobiles. This is of concern to management because lost sales mean lost profits. The management of Rayo Motors knows that they need a product that can compete in this new market. The management team realizes that if they do not invest in product differentiation, sales will continue to decline, and they may need to take urgent actions to maintain profitability. They understand that the company needs a strategic plan to build the products that appeal to the widest variety of customers. This strategic plan will not only address the company's goals in the near term, but in the long term as well.
Leaders today need both the ability to craft the right strategy and the skills to implement it. But unbelievably, the rate of strategy implementation failures is increasing, not decreasing. Strategy implementation is a relatively new subject in business, and as such, the current generation of leaders have been taught how to plan, but not how to implement. For example, those of us who attended a business degree, of course we had a professor in strategy, but very few of us, if any, had a professor in strategy implementation. As a result of this, we've created a strategy implementation skills gap. And this skills gap is a key contributor to why over 2/3 of implementations are failing based on our 20 years of research. We've also identified two other very important messages. One, leaders habitually repeat past mistakes. Despite knowing the high failure rate, leaders continue to adopt the same methodology they used previously, and unbelievably, they don't make any changes to their approach. As Einstein famously said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. A good practice for leaders is at the initial stage of their implementation to identify why it has failed in the past and then apply those lessons to the new implementation to make sure it succeeds. Another key outcome from our research is that we identified that organizations lack the required discipline for implementation. Changing your strategy by default means changing the way your employees work. And asking them to work differently by simply attending a 45-minute launch of the new strategy will not have the impact. What does have the impact is when employees are hearing the message and it's being reinforced daily by giving them the support and encouragement to take the new actions. It takes discipline to make this happen, and it's something that many organizations lack. It's similar for an individual that when they're training for a marathon or becoming fit in the gym, it's not about doing it once a month or once a week. It has to become a daily routine or a daily discipline. We define strategy as the choices an organization makes, and implementation is about taking the right actions. And taking the right actions means having that discipline to focus on what is adding value to implementing the new strategy. It also involves identifying what is not adding value and what should stop being done within the organization. It's essential to do this so that you can stop taking the actions that are distracting you from your success, and also to free up the space and the time for employees to adopt the new actions. Peter Drucker taught us that this is called purposeful abandonment. But they also need to know what the strategy is. And incredibly, from our research, only 5% of employees can define their own organizational strategy. If employees don't know what the strategy is, how can they identify the right actions to take? Consider this puzzle. 5 birds sit on a fence. 3 decide to leave. How many birds are left on the fence? I've asked this question to different leaders around the world, and typically I receive the answers 0, 2, or 5. The correct answer is 5. Why? They attended a phenomenal 2-day leadership program discussing what to do to implement the strategy. On the first Monday of every month, they had a conference call discussing how to implement the new strategy, but they never took the right actions. They only decided. What makes the high failure rate in strategy implementation even more frustrating is that leaders know what they need to do differently, but somewhere between thought and action, their good intentions become lost. We discovered early on that leaders were missing a framework to guide them through their organization's implementation journey. In 2004, I introduced the Implementation Compass. The framework highlights the 8 areas where organizations need to focus to achieve their implementation.
Seven strategies to grow your successful business. Dream big. There are no limits to how good you can become or how high you can rise except the limits you put on yourself. Brian Tracy. What does it take to be successful in today's business world? To start, you have to have a product that's wanted or needed, and it has to be properly priced, and that's just the beginning. In order to have a successful business, practice these things. If your business strategy is lacking in a particular area, it's time to fix it. These are 7 tips to grow your business. First, be hands-on and meticulous. In order to grow your business, the business owner needs to be there all the time and hands-on, like a doctor. A business owner can never be afraid to do the small tasks. He or she should pitch in and straighten up boxes or pick up things. Small things do get noticed, so attention to detail is very important. Second, show your passion. Selling is a transfer of enthusiasm. Business owners need to show their enthusiasm for their product or service as well as for their customers. Besides showing passion, business owners need to be optimistic. In business, there are all kinds of problems. You have to look for the good in every situation and look for the lesson in everything that goes wrong. Third, focus on the customer. The purpose of business is not to make a profit. It's to create and keep a customer. You want them to come the first time, then come back again, and finally, bring their friends. How you are doing is directly related to how many satisfied customers you have. To increase customer satisfaction, you have to listen to your customers and be involved in their buying experience. Fourth, become more competitive. Unless you have an exclusive monopoly, competition is everything, and differentiation is the key to successful selling. You can't be a Me Too company. You must have a competitive advantage. If you don't have one, create one. It all comes down to your USP or unique selling proposition. This is what makes you better than your competitors. It can be your location, your product, but often it's you. When customers think of a business, they often think of the people who make up that business, and especially the owner. Fifth, mind the money. In putting together a business strategy, business owners should always focus on sales, revenues, and cash flow, and to know every day how much money is being made. Focus on your net profit, not your gross profit. This gives you a more realistic view of how the business is doing. Look to idealize your business. Think about what your perfect business would look like, and then figure out what you need to do to create it. Next, be the best. Business owners are always striving for excellence. They want to be the best at what they do. Being the best is about being in constant motion, working harder and faster. Being the best is also about wanting to learn more. Finally, measure your success. Everyone defines success differently. This is the best measure of success. You should enjoy what you do. That's the ultimate success. Next, you should consistently hit your numbers. It shows that you know what you're doing. Lastly, you should love your product or service, and you should love your customers. If you do all these, you can't help but be successful. All of these tips to growing a successful business are important. Having your own business is challenging and rewarding. It is important to plan and set your goals in the long term. Thanks for watching, and as Brian says, if you want to change your future, take action, and take action now.
So I want to open with this question. Why do companies have mission statements? Have you ever thought about it? Typically what happens is that the executives of a company will go away together on a retreat. They'll spend several days together crafting the perfect mission statement. They'll come back and frame it. They'll give that mission statement to all of their employees to take and embody this mission and ultimately to move it forward. So why do we do this? Alistair McIntyre is a philosopher who wrote a book called After Virtue, which is considered to be one of the most important works of philosophy in the 20th century. In his book, he says this: I can only answer the question, what am I to do, if I can answer the prior question of what story or stories do I find myself a part. What he's saying is that story really determines all of the actions that we take. Story is at the bottom of how we live. It forms our identity, which gives rise to our convictions, which informs our values, and drives the actions that we take. And of course, because story is driving our actions, it also drives our outcomes. So the reason that companies spend so much time carefully crafting these mission statements is because they want to have one big story and the right story driving all of their actions as a company. Story provides meaning and purpose for our work, and even in a broader sense for our lives. In fact, all of our lives are organized around these stories that we tell about ourselves, about why we're here, about what and whom we care about, and why we do the things that we do. And the same is true for a business. The story that a business tells about itself takes its first shape in a mission statement. So let's start with Sony. Sony exists to establish a place of work where engineers can feel the joy of technological innovation, be aware of their mission to society, and work to their heart's content. Hewlett-Packard exists to make a contribution to society by designing, developing, and manufacturing the finest electronic equipment for the advancement of science and the welfare of humanity. Facebook exists to give people the power to build community and bring the world closer together. Do you hear how lofty these mission statements are? They speak of things like advancing humankind, the welfare of humanity, a mission to society, of human flourishing. These are big, big stories. These are stories of hope. And when story aims too low, in the other hand, it is deeply dissatisfying to us. When we talk about what we do, rather than its purpose or the bigger story of why it is that we do it, it bothers us really to the bottom of our souls. We hate it when stories aim too low. At Eventide, we believe the true story of business is to serve the common good. This is our mission statement. Eventide exists to honor God and serve its clients by investing in companies that create compelling value for the global common good.
Organization's mission is the purpose or the reason of an organization's existence. But over time the mission may change to take advantage of new opportunities or respond to new market conditions. For example, an Alibaba company, according to Jack Ma, Alibaba must embrace change to operate in the ever-changing technology industry with flexibility to adapt to changing business objectives. They transformed their e-commerce company into a digital economy, and their digital economy has expanded into cloud computing, financial services, logistics, local services, and digital media and entertainment. To define company's mission, every organization must address Peter Drucker's 5 classic questions.
The 5 questions. What is my mission? Who is my customer? What does the customer value? What are my results? What is my plan?
Every successful artist, president, scientist, actor, or teacher has used management in one form or another. The practice of management will help you invent your future. First question, what is your mission? And let's think about this. Drucker said a mission cannot be impersonal. It has to have deep meaning, something you believe in.
Commitment. Are you committed to your mission? Are you invested?
Next, opportunity knocks, but it only knocks once. You have to be ready for it.
Opportunity. Is there a genuine opportunity or need for what you're trying to accomplish?
Last but not least, competence.
Competence. Are you realistically able to achieve your goals, given your abilities?
A mission statement must be clear and focused, powerful yet compact. On to the second question. Who is your customer? It's very important to know your customer. What does your customer value? What are your results? You need to measure them as you go. Think about your starting point and where you want to get to. And you must track your progress at every turn. The big question, what is your plan? How are you going to accomplish your desired results? You need to keep a tight focus. Choose no more than 5 goals. Drucker would say, it's important to use your strengths and make your weaknesses irrelevant. Drucker wrote that the danger is in acting on what you believe satisfies the customer. You will inevitably make wrong assumptions. Don't assume you know what your customer wants. That can only be answered by customers themselves. You mean you have to walk in your customer's shoes. Find out what your customer values.
Successful companies continuously raise these questions and answer them thoughtfully and thoroughly. Mission statements are at their best when they reflect a vision, an almost impossible dream that provides a direction to the company for the next years.
When I come back here, it's like a movie in my mind. This is the place we start. 18 people have dreamed. The Alibaba service should help millions of small business, young people to realize their dreams. All the tough decisions we have to make. But we know, without these tough days, we can never be today.
Alibaba was born in Jack's apartment 20 years ago. Since then, we have transformed from an e-commerce company into a digital economy that is one of a kind in the world. Our digital economy has expanded to include cloud computing, financial services, logistics, local services, digital media, and entertainment. Our core competency is finding the right chemistry between technology and business, which has culminated in the creation of the Alibaba Business Operating System. Our founding mission was to make it easy to do business anywhere. Looking ahead, we will continue to build a better future through innovation and creativity. We are a big company, but that's not enough. It is more important that we are a good company. We have a target for 2036, which is to serve 2 billion consumers globally, support 10 million profitable businesses on our platforms, and create 100 million jobs. Our long-term goal is to be a company that spans at least 102 years. That milestone would mean Alibaba has successfully spanned 3 centuries, an achievement very few can match. Alibaba's destiny is to be a future shaper and a pioneer. We choose to create our own path and a new path for others to follow. We believe in the future and we will lead the way.
The overall evaluation of a company's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats is called SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis assesses both the internal environment with regard to its strengths and weaknesses and the external environment in terms of its opportunities and threats.
Hey guys, have you ever heard about the external environment of a firm? The firm's external environment is challenging and complex. Because of its effect on performance, the firm must develop the skill required to identify opportunities and threats that are part of its external environment. The external environment has 3 major parts. First, general environment are segments and elements in the broader society that affect industries and the firms competing in them. Second, industry environment are factors that influence a firm, its competitive action and responses, and the industry's profitability potential. Third, competitors' environment, in which the firm analyzes each major competitor's future objectives, current strategies, assumptions, and capabilities. Firms understand the external environment by acquiring information about competitors, customers, and other stakeholders to build their own base of knowledge and capabilities. On the basis of the new information, firms take actions such as building new capabilities and core competencies in hopes of buffering themselves from any negative environmental effects and to pursue opportunities as the basis for better serving their stakeholders' needs. So, what is opportunity then? An opportunity is a condition in the general environment that, if exploited effectively, helps a company reach strategic competitiveness. Identifying opportunities and threats is an important objective of studying the general environment.
According to Philip Cutler, marketing opportunity is an area of buyer need and interest in which there is a high probability that a company can perform profitably by satisfying a need. The keywords in this definition are area of buyer need and interest, not your interest as entrepreneur but at interest of a particular target market or customer segment. Second, high probability that a company can perform profitably. It means even if you enter market opportunity, if it's not profitable for you, you should give it up. And lastly, satisfying a need. It always you should be satisfying a need or adding value to the customers. There are three main sources of market opportunities.
Main sources of marketing opportunities. If you are a small business, this will be helpful. Number one, supplying something in short supply. In our subdivision, stores offering food supply like chicken, fish, vegetables, and fruits are non-existent before pandemic. Now there are stores offering these. If there are long lines of people trying to buy a particular product, or you see in your Facebook wall of people looking for a particular product, that is a good way to spot that something is in short supply. Now my question is, what product or service are in short supply in your geographic area? And can you supply it? Number two, supply an existing product or service in a superior way. Grab and Angkas are great examples in addressing the transportation need before pandemic. It is superior compared to Jeep and taxis. Online payments like PayMaya, GCash are superior services, and the explosion of digital payments are making it a necessity for the Filipino consumers. And last but not the least, supplying a new product or service. It's like a need-shaping marketing that we discussed in the marketing strategies that we have in our previous videos. X-Link Events, which I am part of, is a MICE organizer for 20 years. For newbies, MICE stands for Meetings, Incentives, Convention, and Exhibition. Seeing that expo and conference are not allowed or not yet attractive because of the pandemic, it shifted to becoming an online MICE organizer or an online events manager. And it's now producing online events for different brands and associations. The popularity of Zoom gave way to new products by Google like Google Meet and Facebook offering messenger rooms. These are superior products because it is bundled to other services of Google and Facebook. Right now, I am very curious what is the next move of Zoom facing this stiff competition.
To evaluate the opportunities, companies can use market opportunity analysis.
Hello and welcome. In this session of our video introduction to the SM Study Guide, let's have a quick overview of the analysis of market opportunity. This module discusses the concepts related to analyzing the internal capabilities of a company, as well as the factors of the external environment that impact the business. An analysis of market opportunities is important because businesses operate in dynamic and constantly evolving environments. So understanding the changing landscapes and trends that are impacting the business helps in developing an effective marketing strategy. This also explains the crucial factors to consider while analyzing market opportunity, such as defining the market within which a company intends to operate and segmenting the market to identify potential customers for the company's product portfolio. The processes associated with market opportunity analysis are: determine strengths and weaknesses, determine opportunities and threats, and define market and identify market segments. Each process is explained in detail using its associated inputs, tools, and outputs. Market opportunity analysis helps an organization understand what it can deliver so that it can fulfill customer needs. So let's take a look at this table. It provides an overview of the processes pertaining to market opportunity analysis. And we'll discuss all of the inputs, tools, and outputs in detail when we talk more about these processes in later videos. So that's all for this session. Thanks for learning with us.
Now that we know the opportunity, let's go to threats.
Threats. A threat is a condition in the general environment that may hinder a company's efforts to achieve strategic competitiveness.
Here's an example of opportunity and threat of Starbucks.
In terms of opportunities, we can say the following. Starbucks can access new countries easily. It simply has to apply its existing business model in these new geographies. Emerging markets can be a great source of growth for the company. Starbucks has also entered agreements within the entertainment industry and partnered with movie-producing companies. That can be a great opportunity for the firm too. One of the biggest threats for Starbucks is the saturation of the American market, which is where most of its outlets are located. Consumers are increasingly invested in healthier lifestyle, and some substitute products are better positioned to capture the attention of the health-conscious clientele.
The internal environment within which managers work includes corporate culture, technology, organizational structure, and physical facilities. Of these, corporate culture is extremely important to competitive advantage. The internal culture must fit the needs of the external environment and company strategy. When this fit occurs, highly committed employees create a high-performance organization that's tough to beat. The internal environment includes elements within the organization's boundaries, such as employees, management, and corporate culture. The organization has an internal environment which includes the elements within the organization's boundaries. The internal environment is composed of current employees, management, and especially corporate culture, which defines employee behavior. Most people don't think about culture. It's just how we do things around here, or the way things are around here. However, managers need to think about culture. Culture guides how people within an organization interact with one another and how the organization interacts with the external environment. Thus, the culture plays a significant role in organizational success. culture is a set of key values, beliefs, understandings, and norms shared by members of an organization. And culture can be analyzed at two levels, the visible or observable culture and the invisible or non-observable culture. At the surface level are the visible artifacts, which includes things like manner of dress, patterns of behavior, physical symbols, organizational ceremonies, and office layouts. Visible artifacts are the things that we can see, hear, and observe by watching members of the organization. And then there's the deeper, less obvious levels, where values and beliefs are not observable, but can be discerned from how people explain and justify what they do. Members of the organization hold some values at the conscious level. These values can be interpreted from the stories, language, and symbols that the organization members use to represent them. Some values become so deeply embedded in culture that members are no longer consciously aware of them. These basic underlying assumptions and beliefs are the essence of culture and subsequently guide behavior and decisions. An organization's fundamental values are demonstrated through symbols, stories, heroes, slogans, and ceremonies. Let's take a look. A symbol is an object, act, or event that conveys meaning to others. A story is a narrative-based true event and is repeated frequently and shared among organizational employees. A hero is a figure who exemplifies the deeds, characters, and attributes of a strong culture. A slogan, such as Disney's "The Happiest Place on Earth," succinctly expresses a key corporate value. Managers hold ceremonies, which are planned activities and special events to reinforce company values. In considering what cultural values are important for an organization, managers consider the external environment as well as the company's strategy and goals. Studies suggest that the right fit among culture, strategy, and the environment is associated with 4 categories or types of culture. Let's take a look. These 4 categories are based on 2 dimensions. First, the extent to which the external environment requires flexibility or stability, and second, the extent to which a company's strategic focus is internal or external. These 4 categories associated with these differences are adaptability, achievement, involvement, and consistency. Adaptability culture is characterized by values that support the company's ability to interpret and translate signals from the environment into new behavior responses. Managers encourage values that support the company's ability to rapidly detect, interpret, and translate signals from the environment into new behaviors. Employees have the autonomy to make decisions and to act freely to meet new needs, and the responsiveness to customers that's highly valued. Managers also actively create change by encouraging and rewarding creativity, experimentation, and risk-taking. The achievement culture is results-oriented and values competitiveness, aggressiveness, initiative, cost-cutting, and a willingness to work long and hard. An emphasis on winning and achieving specific, ambitious goals is the glue that holds the organization together. The involvement culture is a culture that places a high value on meeting the needs of employees and values cooperation and equality. The culture places a high value on meeting the needs of employees, and the organization may be characterized as caring or like having a family-like atmosphere. Managers emphasize values such as cooperation, consideration of both employees and customers, and avoiding status differences. And finally, the consistency culture values and rewards a methodical, rational, orderly way of doing things. The relative emphasis on various cultural values depends on the needs of the environment and the organization's focus. Managers are responsible for instilling cultural values the organization needs to be successful in its environment.
In this video, we're talking all about SWOT analysis, what it's used for, the various elements and considerations of building a SWOT diagram, and how to get started doing it. SWOT analysis is a key part of any business and strategic plan. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths and weaknesses are internal factors, and opportunities and threats are external factors. A SWOT diagram analyzes a project or business venture by focusing on each of these factors. It typically consists of 4 boxes, one for each area, but the exact shape may vary depending on the design. SWOT diagrams can be especially useful when trying to decide whether or not to embark on a certain venture or strategy by visualizing the pros and cons. By clearly outlining all positives and negatives of a project, SWOT analysis makes it easier to decide how to move forward. First, you want to figure out how to build on the strengths of your organization. A SWOT analysis will help you identify the parts of your business that are doing well. These are your critical success factors, aspects of your business that are strong and give you a competitive advantage. Recognizing these assets will help you continue on at a high level, and you will need to find ways to leverage and build upon these strengths to grow your business. Next, you'll want to identify ways to improve on your weaknesses. Weaknesses are the factors that put you at a disadvantage to your competitors. Figuring out what these weaknesses are and taking actions to lessen them before they hurt your business is essential. This stage requires a detailed and candid analysis of what is going wrong within your organization. Now, you'll try to identify the opportunities available for your business. Try to pinpoint openings in the marketplace that you can take advantage of to help your business grow. These opportunities are caused by external factors, such as market fluctuations and trends. Always consider your strengths and weaknesses when assessing these opportunities. Not every opportunity is right for your company at the moment, but it may be not too far down the line. And now we'll try to figure out how to respond to threats to your business. Market fluctuations, government regulation, or public perception are all external factors that may affect your business in a negative way. By identifying these threats and finding ways to lessen or eliminate them, you are clearing the way for smoother sailing. As with opportunities, you need to consider your strengths and weaknesses when assessing threats. It's important to note that a strength for one part of your organization might be a weakness for another. For instance, the old-fashioned brand image and 100-year-old history of a company may benefit the farm equipment division, but it may not be such a boon for the new tech division. For this reason, you may want to perform a different SWOT analysis for each part of your business rather than for the business as a whole. Also, you'll very likely have the same factors listed in more than one of these categories. You can see how a company's weakness, for example, its lack of presence in a marketplace, could also be a major opportunity going forward. Here are some things to keep in mind while doing a SWOT analysis. Try to keep your SWOT diagram brief and to the point. Include the most pertinent details, but don't bog it down with too much explanation within the diagram. You can go into greater detail during meetings or in reports. Be sure to utilize employees from various areas of your company when getting input during your analysis. Consider feedback from your partners and customers as well. A variety of perspectives will result in a more thorough analysis. Keep the core objectives of your company's business plan in mind while performing your SWOT analysis. This will help guide you through seemingly unrelated internal and external factors. Arrange the results of your analysis in order of the most important factors to the least. This will help you prioritize action points going forward. With all that in mind, let's look at how you build a SWOT diagram. First, determine the objective. Decide on a key project or strategy to analyze and write it at the top of the page. Next, create a grid. Draw a large square and then divide it into 4 smaller squares. If you're using a diagramming program like SmartDraw, the templates already do this for you. All you have to do is type in the spaces. The boxes, of course, should be labeled strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. These are titles, so they should be distinguished from the rest of the text using either color or font size. Add the factors that affect the project to the applicable boxes. Factors are typically listed in bullet form. Continue adding, removing, or editing the factors as you go through your process. That's all there is to it. Now, draw your conclusions by analyzing the finished SWOT diagram. Be sure to note if the positive outcomes outweigh the negative. If they do, it may be a good decision to carry out the objective. If they do not, adjustments may need to be made, or certain objectives may need to be abandoned. Be sure to keep your SWOT analysis in an easy-to-access place for future reference and discussion. Some managers may want to keep an ongoing SWOT analysis, updating the diagram on a regular basis. Others may prefer to revise the analysis quarterly or yearly. Either way, it should not be left stagnant for long. We hope you've enjoyed learning about SWOT analysis. Thanks for watching.
Okay, great. So in this lesson, our goal would be to apply the SWOT framework in practice. Shouldn't be that difficult, right? The company we'll examine is Starbucks, the well-known U.S. coffee company and coffeehouse chain. It was founded in Seattle in 1971 and operates in several countries around the world. Let's start with the company's strengths. First, almost everyone knows its brand, right? So it definitely has a strong brand recognition. Starbucks has been proclaimed the most recognized coffee brand in the world, quite an advantage regarding other companies in the industry. The firm's brand is one offering of a differentiated product to customers, which is coherent with its strategy and pricing. Clients have expressed they love the atmosphere in Starbucks coffee houses. They can use free Wi-Fi and enjoy the coffee drinking experience to the fullest. The company owns thousands of outlets around the world, and its clients can find it even when traveling overseas. That's a strong advantage, as it ensures loyal clients can remain such even overseas. And finally, Starbucks supply chain management ensures the quality of coffee served to customers is excellent. The company chooses its suppliers carefully, which improves the quality of its products and ensures clients receive a super coffee experience. This is another choice in sync with its differentiation strategy. Okay, very good. Let's take off our rosy glasses and consider some of the firm's weaknesses. One could argue Starbucks offers the same product in all countries where it operates. It does not customize it according to the different tastes of people in different geographies. For some customers, this is an issue, and they prefer competitor products tailored to their specific geographical preferences. In addition, Starbucks has a premium price policy, which is not in line with most customers' expectations. Not all countries have enough middle and high-income class individuals who can afford to pay extra for their coffee. Weakness number 3 would be the high employee turnover that the chain's coffee shops have. It is difficult to serve coffee as a premium product when the company's baristas have been on the job for only a couple of weeks. In terms of opportunities, we can say the following. Starbucks can access new countries easily. It simply has to apply its existing business model in these new geographies. Emerging markets can be a great source of growth for the company. Starbucks has also entered agreements within the entertainment industry and partnered with movie-producing companies. That can be a great opportunity for the firm too. One of the biggest threats for Starbucks is the saturation of the American market, which is where most of its outlets are located. Consumers are increasingly invested in healthier lifestyle, and some substitute products are better positioned to capture the attention of the health-conscious clientele. Okay, we'll stop here. This is what a SWOT analysis looks like in practice. The depth of the observations included in the analysis depends on the information we have about the company. I'm sure an industry practitioner would be capable to prepare a much deeper analysis. However, the important point is you now know how to perform a SWOT analysis on your own, and you can distinguish the important questions from the rest when it comes to analyzing a company. SWOT analysis is a great tool that allows us to visualize and concentrate on some of the most important topics when analyzing a company. This will do for now. Thanks for watching.